Wow. Hey everybody, this is Lena and you're watching Lena's Life. I'm here on YouTube and I just got done listening to Mark's remarks and basically misrepresentation of me. I mean, it's like, whoa, unbelievable. Unbelievable, honestly. What he is capable of doing is boggles my mind. It really does. To set the record straight, I was never really a person who would go on the offensive. It was a comment that he made. You think you know a person, and I was like, I commented back yesterday and said what I said, but I also had said very clearly that I didn't want to demean his character. I said very clearly and in a very controlled manner that I loved him and that I didn't want to give people any fuel to be hating on him and stuff. But apparently he thinks I'm just like this massive manipulator that master manipulator, I guess, that really, you know, I'm not that smart, people. I really am not. I mean, I'm just me. And for the record, I just want people to know that, you know, I've been in contact with my oldest son, and he's a gateway child, and he's a child that basically, if I can connect with him, I can connect with the rest of my kids. But everybody knows what I'm about and stuff, and I've never been like a person that's been a liar per se. I just wanted to go through this video with him and just kind of like rebut some of the things that he had to say. And it's gonna be a little different, this video. It's about 14 minutes long, and I have things to say, you know, because I feel that I am being misrepresented, and quite honestly, I think that if I am being honest and truthful about things with regards to my relationship with Mark and, you know, my life in general, then I should be able to just like kind of say what I feel is true, you know, because only I know that, you know, because I'm the one who's lived it. So without any further ado, I'm going to play.
I just listened to some of that you made this morning. You know, I'm giving her exactly what she needs, is the stage for the drama, the stage of victimhood. She's been doing this since she was a kid.
Okay, this whole stage for the drama thing, I have not been doing anything since I was a kid. I was really pretty quiet, and I really didn't you know, participate in stuff like that. I was a quiet kid. I was a goody two shoes kid. I didn't do anything. So I don't know what he's talking about when he says that he's giving me stage for my drama.
Her sister, her ex, people that know her, can vouch for that.
Okay, people that know me don't know me, because when I transitioned, they basically rejected me, and everything that they have to say is very slanted, as obviously as you can imagine. A Christian family, people that, you know, believe very, very strongly in one way and are not shaken by that in any way, shape, or form. But, you know, when he says that, you know, my mom, my sister, my ex-wife, I mean, yeah, they have a certain way of believing, you know, and they don't believe what I've done is right. I mean, I just had a woman contact me via email and was like, Lena, can I talk to you about, what I think that you need to do? You know, I mean, can I just be honest with you? And I was like, sure, go ahead. I mean, that's perfectly fine. Say what you want to say. And, this is the degree of rejection that I get, from people. And I'm not playing a harp, believe me. I'm really not. But I just wanted to read. This is kind of, this is a different video for us here today. So this person, I know her from Bible college way back in the day. I never really knew her, really. She says, this. I don't want this public. I made it public because it was very disgustingly offensive to me. Please, but you need a fresh start with Jesus. You are a wonderful person. Your comment of, I don't know what I'm going to do, you won't have to worry about it. Give it to the Lord. Have a fresh start and move on. You were with a controlling woman who desires to be a man. Mark, she is a woman. God created her to be that, just as he created you to be a man. I mean, so those right there are trigger words for people with gender dysphoria. I don't know if she understands that those of us that deal with gender issues, we don't want to hear those words, but apparently they don't have any compassion to understand that those things are very hurtful and bigoted and very rude and very unnecessary. I mean, they can believe what they want, but we live as we live, You have beautiful children. Yes, I do. I agree. God gave them to you. Yes, he did. Yes, you have a weakness, a desire to be a woman. You are letting the devil get you, and you are getting weak. Listen, all those of you who are Christians out there that believe like this woman does, I don't have a weakness. I really don't. I'm just being me. Being a transgender woman is not a weakness. It's a strength. And it was celebrated by indigenous cultures throughout history. And just because your Western society inspired Bible doesn't allow for, the mysteries of gender to be seen, and you only operate within the binary, it doesn't mean that you're right. It doesn't mean that you guys can say that we're like we're being demon possessed or something like that. I mean, it's like letting the devil get to you. Here's the deal. As a Christian growing up, I knew that my gender issues were a challenge to my faith, and I was willing to ask God to help me with it because I wanted, deliverance. If it's a problem, if it's something that I need, I'm gonna have to turn on the air. That if that's what I need, then I definitely wanted to be fixed or whatever, right? So that was something that I thought, was necessary. So, I mean, for 40 years, I've tried fasting, I tried praying, I tried going to church, I tried going on retreats, I tried everything, right? Everything. And, one day God told me, I just love you as you are. You are a beautiful person. I created you in my image, and I love you as you are. So, I don't need fixing from Christians and stuff like that. I don't have a desire to be a woman. Well, I do have a desire to be a woman, but I have a desire to be me, right? And me is not a woman necessarily, because I am, I have my faculties about me, And I know that I could never be a genetic woman. I mean, it's not like a mystery. I know that. But I know that I can be a feminine person and I can present as a woman and live my life as a woman. Okay? That, I understand. I'm not a woman, whatever. You are letting the devil get you and you are getting weak. Stand up and fight. How do we fight? I mean, a trans woman has been around for 5+ years and has been wanting to transition since they were like a kid. Stand up and fight. You know what the word of God says. You have lived it. The enemy comes to kill, steal, and destroy, but only if we let him. Don't let the enemy rule you more. You got this. Get out of this mess and get right with Christ again. You know deep inside that's your desire. The greatest thing about it is God forgives as it was no more. You're letting the enemy torment your mind. You have been told that the universe is speaking or whatever. God is taking you out of a bad situation and reeling you back in. Open your eyes, look around, and run as fast as you can back to Christ. Only He can help, but you have to do this for you and only you. The rest will fall back into place. I promise you, you will not regret it. Healing takes time, but we have to medicate the wound. Get into the Word. Find you some time, new friends. Don't post your negative on social media only. Post positive. Let it work itself out with the help of Jesus. Love you lots. Please, just think about this. And I'm like, I respond and I go, Teresa, I know that you mean well and I understand exactly what you're saying. I grew up in Christianity. I grew up understanding all the Bible stories, reading the Bible, dissecting stories and dissecting thoughts and passages of scripture and, all of that, right? But you truly do not get it. You don't understand gender dysphoria and you don't understand the human spirit. And the role of gender is not as you would think. If you think that for 1 minute that this is at all remotely helpful to me at this point in my life, I would say that you're absolutely wrong. And the people like you are the reason that I struggle with any legitimacy with Christianity. You seem to not understand that this is not a matter of giving it to Jesus, quote unquote, or anything else. This is a matter of human life. This is a matter of being a part of who we are. And I don't expect you to understand, but please don't do this again. This is so unnecessary. I'm going to have to unfriend you. And I did. I blocked her. There is way too much water under this bridge to ever remotely turn back to being a man again. So please stop it. This is unnecessary and needless and compassionless at this point in time. And she writes, I'm so sorry to offend you. That was not my goal. Just trying to give advice. No, I don't understand, but I feel so different. I feel so different, no different to you. Still wish to remain friends, but if that's not your desire, I understand. I said, you did. You have no clue as to what it is to suffer gender dysphoria, and you have no understanding whatsoever of gender disorders, and you have no compassion, whatever, towards me, a person who has transitioned now for over 5 years, and you have to tell me that I just need to go back to being a man? You're absolutely out of line and absolutely non-compassionate towards the LGBT community, and I really am ashamed of what you just stated, and it's not necessary, nor is it welcome. And I'm appalled that this is the manner in which you would approach me, and a person who's giving you access to my life, a person who I really don't know, I didn't know in college, but has chosen to hang on and try to win me over for Jesus or something. And it's not going to happen, Teresa. This is not a black and white issue. And Christians, there are these issues, and they're not just black and white. You have to understand, gender is complicated. Even the Jews, God's chosen people, quote unquote, they had 7 or 8 different types of gender classifications, and they recognized it. You know, look it up. Look it up. It's there. It's very complicated, and I wish that you would get educated, understand, but things are not as simple as you would want them to be. You're wrong for doing this, and you only make the wound worse. I hope you do know that. I mean, sorry. And today of all days, really? You saw how hurt I was. Why would you hit me when I'm at my low point? Ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's unnecessary, rude, and crude. Thank you, but no thank you. And it's okay to be angry at me, she says. And I say, no, it's not okay to be angry with anyone. But it is very disgusting behavior. And I think you should be ashamed of yourself for even implying it, because it shows me that you know nothing about being compassionate towards the trans community. And I wish that the Christian community would develop a little bit of couth and respect for those that are dealing with gender issues, and stop demonizing us and telling us that we have a weakness to be something that we're not. We know that we're not you, but we also know that we're not what we were. We're somewhere else. And that, whether you understand it or don't understand it, that's the crux of the matter. Gender is not easy to understand. So you have no earthly idea how offensive that is. It is to a trans woman to hear, oh, you're a man and you need to go back to being a man. Do you understand how that makes us feel? Do you understand what kind of compromise that places us in to understand? Do you understand that it's not something that is so black and white as you would want it to be? I honestly expected more from you, but this is not helpful. Actually, I'm going to have like time to recover from this type of basically abuse. You know, I mean, it's like unnecessary. It's really, really, really sad, because instead of being able to help people like us, all you do is like reject us, like the leper. And, you know, the Pharisees didn't do a very good job with the leper either. You know, in the Bible, Jesus went to the leper and they were like, what are you doing going to those people? Those people are like, you don't go to those people. What? Jesus, what are you doing going to the Samaritan, to Samaria? And you could go around that place, because those people are dogs. They're half breeds. They worship idols and things. And Jesus, he's like, cool. He's like, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna go sit by a well and I'm gonna talk to a woman. And you have to understand that a woman was someone that was low on the social scale, you know, and didn't have the respect of society. And Jesus actually addressed the woman, and the woman was shocked. She was like, oh my God, he's talking to me. Men don't talk to women. You know, it's like, you know, in Saudi Arabia right now, they have to wear the hijab and cover their faces and stuff. And if you ever watched Not Without My Daughter, Sally Field movie about escaping the abuse that her husband had kidnapped her and brought her to Iraq or something, or Iran or whatever, and she had to get away with her daughter, you would understand, you know, that these Middle East cultures, they don't respect women, or haven't, you know, for a very long time. So when Jesus is like sitting there and he's talking to this woman and going, and you know, but I can offer you living water. You know, it's not water that you just pull out of a well. It's water that flows from within you. And, you know, she's like, you know, I mean, it must have been a mind-blowing event, you know, because nobody talked to women. Men didn't talk to women like that. So, you know, that's the thing. You know, Christians don't talk to lepers, just like Pharisees don't talk to trans people, just like Pharisees don't talk to lepers, right? Because they didn't want anything to do with those dirty people, those sinful people, those people that are going to hell, right? So I just think it's really despicable that Christians would think that they could just like, you need to just turn back to Jesus. It's like, do you think for a second that that's not something that I tried to do? And, you know, I mean, do you not understand that there's grace on this side of the fence too? I mean, there is. So I know it exists. I know it's real. And, you know, for all that I've experienced with Christianity, I just think it's a bogus religion for me personally, because I've experienced the disdain and the constant judgment and the rejection and everything else. But let's get back to Mark, shall we? We should get back to Mark, because he has lots to say. He has so much to say to me. And the title of the video is She is Getting What She Wants and Craves.
That's how she gets attention, trying to become the victim. Yes, I got yesterday because I can't even go on my wall and express how I feel. I think Lena is a sluice bag.
I think he meant to say sleaze bag, but you know, his Cuban, you know, we used to joke around about it, but he misrepresents me there, because I wasn't playing a control card or anything like that. I was controlled by Mark. I mean, I couldn't go. I mean, when you can't walk out your front door, and this isn't drama, this is just reality. This man would not let me walk out the front door and go walking by myself. You know, just wouldn't let that happen. So, you know, I'm not being dramatic or anything. I'm just being realistic, you know.
She's been that way. I just didn't want to see it before me. As soon as, I mean, she cheated on her own wife. They weren't even separated or divorced yet. She went on some sort of whatever, and she cheated on her own.
Now, what he's referring to is when I was dealing with my gender issues and stuff early on, in the summer of 2013, I think it was, we had already been, you know, discussing this privately, Cheryl, my wife at the time, and we were discussing things privately, and we were in the bedroom more times in the morning than we would care to admit and stuff. So I was not, you know, not communicating with her about stuff, and she knew that I was cross-dressing in dressing rooms, and I mean in hotel rooms and stuff whenever I was working with a client and stuff like that, or when I was at home and I needed to get out and about and stuff, to be able to just kind of get this whole thing kind of like, I don't know, you know, it's like it's like this energy that you feel like you can't let out unless you go and see yourself, right? So I don't expect people to understand it. I don't expect Christians to understand it. I really don't. But there came a time in May of 2013 when I had planned a big trip out to California. My nephew was graduating from college, and ROTC was going to be commissioned as an officer, and my niece was going to graduate from high school, and my daughter was having a birthday in June. She had a birthday on June 9th. So it was all like this really cool event that was going to happen, and we were all going to be there. And I had bought tickets on Southwest months before, like almost a year, because my mom was like, "Polly, can you please buy tickets for it? You know?" I'm like, "Sure, Mom, we'll buy tickets. We'll be there. We'll be there." And so that's what we did, right? We went, we planned it, and I had a job, and it was going to be in, I was working in Austin, Texas, with a women's ministry, and we were doing a Bible study series in like somebody's home and stuff. So all the other guys were driving back or flying. They were flying back from Austin back to Nashville, and I asked, Lifeway, the people that used to work for, I asked them, can you guys make me a return to, instead of Nashville, going to Vegas? And they were like, oh, sure, honey, we'll do that for you. It's no problem. You're such a good worker. We love you. And it's like, okay, great. Thank you. So I had brought my clothes to Austin, via the equipment truck and everything, and I stuffed it inside my gear and everything, and I would go get it and whatnot when it arrived. But I got a call. The plan was that my ex was going to bring the children, and she was going to fly out of Nashville. We were going to rendezvous in Las Vegas, rent a minivan, because minivans are cheaper to rent in Vegas. Heads up if you guys ever want to rent a car. And then we would leave Vegas, drive the 4 hours down to Moreno Valley where my mom lives, and then, have a great time, So I get a phone call the day before, right? We've already arranged this, it's already done. The day before, I get a call, and I remember I'm on the job, and she goes, I just talked to my parents, and I'm not going to go, and the kids aren't going to go either. And I was like, really? I mean, this is like my family. We don't get to see, my kids don't get to see my family very often because they're all the way in California. And, my ex's family, my wife's family at the time, they lived in Minnesota. So they would come down and visit. We would go up and visit. I mean, we were always doing stuff like that, right? And I was a family person. I was a family dad, and I took my kids everywhere. I mean, they talk about me being manipulative and stuff like that. I was a sweet soul. I was a good person. I mean, my own son just recently, if you guys want to kind of understand what I'm talking about, my own son, and I've said it before, I was sitting in Chipotle with him. I visited with him. Thankfully, it was a wonderful reunion. Hadn't seen him since late 2014. Well, he, he said, Dad, you were a good dad. I don't know why you give yourself such a hard time. I mean, you gave us time. You used to sit with me up in the bunk bed. You read stories to me. You exposed me to all these different history movies, and I remember I took him to go see Spider-Man. I remember the first Spider-Man that came out with Troy, with that Maguire kid, and it was like super cool. I was a super cool dad. It's like my wife would say, when the cat's away, the mice will play. And that's what we did. We loved to play. I used to throw the kids up in the air, and used to carry them all over the house. And I mean, it was, I couldn't really be a disciplinarian. I was always the fun dad, right? Fun dad. So I always loved taking my kids to places and stuff. So manipulative, I don't know. If I was manipulative, my kids aren't saying that I was, So anyway, this trip happened, and I was like, she's like, well, you're going to have to make a decision. I'm like, what do you mean I'm going to make a decision? I go, I'm going to California. I'm going to go see my family. I haven't seen them in years. In months. I haven't, I was looking forward to this. This was something very important for my family, and I've done lots of sacrifices for my ex's family. I mean, I moved to Minnesota to give her that ability to have the children be able to go to Painesville and to hang out at the cabin and to spend the summers and everything. And I relocated my own family, against the wishes of people that lived in Nashville at the time that were like, your career's taken off. I mean, you're being used by a lot of people, CMT and TNN and all these different country music videos and things like that. I mean, I was like, you know, I was like doing really well. And then we moved to Minnesota and I had nothing, no contacts whatsoever. I mean, but I did it for other reasons. You know, I did it because my kids needed to, I knew they needed their grandparents. So I wanted to offer them that. But I digress. Anyway, so that day in Austin, I'm like on the phone, I'm like, are you kidding me? It's like, you know, hours before that flight leaves. Are you kidding me? Are you not going to come? Please, please don't do this. I will leave the clothes and I'm not going to take them with me. You have me 100%. I'm not going to. And she's like, no, I'm not going to go. And I was like, oh my God. Really? What am I going to do now? I didn't have words to say. I mean, it's like my man, dad, husband role was stripped away by the woman that bore my children. And she did it in a matter-of-fact manner, and she did not come. I ended up going out to California, and I told her, I said, do you realize that you're making me cross a line that I don't want to cross? Because I really feel like by you rejecting me in this way, that it's going to make me do something that I'm going to regret, you know? And sure enough, that's what happened. Because me and my quest to understand my gender and stuff, I was in communication with guys and stuff. I brought my clothes with me. I landed in Vegas. I dressed. I just like threw every care out in the window. You know, I went and bought some big D-size breast forms, and you know, I mean, I was like kid in a candy store. You know, I mean, I was gone. You know, because I felt that rejection. You know, and I felt that I wasn't given that place as a husband, and that my wife actually dictated what the family would and wouldn't do. So I always felt that way, that was something that has happened in the past, and you know, that's what ended up happening with me. So I was just beside myself, you know, and I was like, well, fuck that. I'm just going to do as I want to do, you know? I mean, my wife doesn't respect me as a husband, and it must be because I was never meant to be a husband. Maybe I was supposed to be a wife, you know? So I was just really, really bummed, right? And I decided that I was going to see what it was going to be like to be intimate with a man. I had never kissed a guy before. The thought of whiskers on whiskers to me never has been appealing, but you know, I'd always been intrigued with men and stuff. So it didn't happen automatically, but I was in communication with this guy, probably a tranny chaser, and he had like, okay, it was like the last day I was there. I'd done all the graduation. I'd visited out in the university where my nephew graduated, and you know, it was like totally like fun. I shot videos, and I mean, I did my nephew's video, and I mean, it was, you know, graduation. My daughter was supposed to have a birthday party, a pool party at my mom's house in Moreno Valley, and they had a graduation party only for my niece. It was supposed to be a like 2-girl party, you know, but my daughter wasn't able to be there, you know. So they had birthday cake that they bought that was never, they had gifts that they bought that they had to send to Nashville. I mean, so my wife basically ruined the opportunity. And the reason that she said that she didn't want to go was because she thought that my mom and my sister would say something and then the kids would find out and then it'd be like, oh, like really bad and stuff. Hi, Rayla. It hurts my heart to hear anything negative about you. Hi, Rayla. Thanks for supporting me. So anyway, Rayla, you've been around for a long time and you know my heart. You know I'm not a manipulator. I mean, my God. So anyway, I'm sorry too. I don't know what to say. I really don't. What it was like for me early on. You were there. You know. I mean, whatever Marx is saying is like so mean, so cruel, and he thinks I'm like playing the victim role. Oh my God, that Lena's like the drama queen, that she like has to like, oh, like, and the award goes to Lena. It's like, no. If anyone knows me and knows the videos that I've done in the past, they've always been genuine, real, and very transparent. I've never not been transparent with all of you on this channel. And I've had to, I had to put my channel on hiatus because he said, we have a channel now, so you don't have to put your videos up on your channel. You're on my channel or our channel. And it's like, it's your channel. My channel's always had my stuff on it. I mean, it's my history, right? And so I just, I was like really hurt, but I also was like, confused about my gender. And I was like, wait a minute, if I am really trans, then how am I going to react when a man kisses my lips, right? So I made arrangements. It was the last day. I lied to my mom. I said, Mom, I'm going to go visit my friend Frankie. We're going to go to a drive-in theater at night and stuff. And yeah, I was forced to stop that channel. I was told not to do videos on it because I was on the other channel now, all the different iterations of it. But so I got there. It was the last day. I used my mom's car and I drove out to Marina Del Rey, where I met this man. He was on a boat, and I told him, that I was trans and stuff. He knew I was trans, whatever. But I got on his boat. He started feeling my leg and stuff, and he started laying one on me, and I just like felt. I mean, it felt so natural and so comfortable that I just kind of got lost. And, it was the first time I ever had, any intimacy with a man, with their junk. I never, ever done anything like that. But it felt so natural. It felt like it was meant to be for me, right? So after that night of exploration and confirmation, I ended up like totally given over to what I needed to do. And it was only months later, in October, that I wanted to go get another therapist session in and start my hormone treatment. But I wasn't able to start until November 12th, 2013. So my mom, my sister have experienced, knowing that I was dressing in her bedroom. I mean, it's like, wow, I can't believe that, this person's a deceiver. They're lying, they're cheating and stuff. But, honestly, I was a really nice person. I've always been a nice person. I've never been a meanie, so I'll get back to Mark here.
Left her wife high and dry with 5 children.
Okay, left her wife high and dry with 5 children. I wanted to address that because I never left my wife high and dry with 5 children. I was basically unable to be me and to be with my children. You know, I mean, I moved out as I was told. I was told, if you ever take female hormones, don't expect to come in the front door again. That's what I was told. I was told, don't ever like make a stink about this. You need to just leave, and when you leave, just leave quietly. My ex-wife, I will sort out the details and I will fix it. And I was like, dang, you know? I mean, I don't want to be freaking out my kids, you know. I didn't know what hormones were going to do or not do. And, you know, I didn't know. I knew I was going to do it, you know. But, so I found myself an apartment, you know. I got myself my own place and I rented out an apartment for 6 months, you know. And I was also told, you can't go see the kids, you know. My wife was like, and another thing, I don't want you going to the boys' basketball games because if we're not together, I don't want people to think anything, you know. And I was like, okay, so what can I do? Can I see my children? Well, I mean, I want you to have minimal contact with them. I'm like, so that means little to none. Exactly. Because they don't need another mom. And I was like, well, I'm not being another mom. And I will not even dress as me if that's a problem. Early on, I was willing to do that. And so, you know, this whole thing that Mark's saying, it just doesn't hold water.
One of them was 4 years old when Lena decided to pursue her gender identity.
It's like, you know, Mark does that, and it's like a game. It's like a joke. It's like, and Lena chose to pursue her gender identity. It's like, so he can be legit, right? He can have his legit, you know, way of being, but I have to be like a quote unquote trans person and not really one either, right? It's like, who made him the official trans identifier? I don't know who did. Someone like nominate him? Did he get votes or something I wasn't aware of? I don't know. But he says I left my 4-year-old. I mean, I don't know. You guys have seen a video that I did on Father's Day back in 2014. I was devastated. I was so shocked. I mean, I was like so shocked that my wife didn't even have the decency to be there on Father's Day for me to be able to see my children on that day in 2014. And it was one of the saddest days. And, you know, I encourage you guys, if you have time to watch a sad, sobby story, to go check it out, because it breaks my heart every time I see it. I was so broken, you know, walking through my house thinking, this is the last time I'm going to see this. It's the last time I'm going to be in my children's room. It's the last time I'm going to see these pictures on the refrigerator. The last time we're going to see these memories. It's like, it was just devastating. And my wife was not willing to give an inch. Not even an inch of any compromise whatsoever. She just wanted me out, gone. So if the kids didn't have their dad, it's because my ex said, I don't want you around, freak. It's like I was planning on sticking around Nashville, and I said, I have an opportunity to go to Henderson to Minneapolis to work. What do you think? Go. I was like, really? Just go? Yeah, go. If that's the work that you have, just go. And I know, she just wanted to be rid of me. I mean, it's embarrassing. Honestly, I'm an embarrassment. I'm an embarrassment to my wife. I'm an embarrassment to my mother. I'm an embarrassment to my sister. I am an embarrassment. So I have made peace with that. I'm fine with that, being an embarrassment to them. And it's like, my mom used to be so proud of me because I was like the one that people would call on, hey, can Paul pray for us? I mean, my cousin one time, he's like, hey bro, I just wanted to talk something with you. My son, I think he's gay. And I was like, Danny, he's your boy, right? He's your son, right? Just love him, It doesn't matter if he's gay. Don't restrict your love. Don't pull your love away from him just because he likes men. I mean, if it's a fault, then, let God deal with him with that. But your job is to love him. That's it. It's not to shame him. It's not to isolate him. It's not to walk away from him. It's to love your son, So, my cousin's asking me this question. I'm dealing with gender issues. He doesn't have a clue, but I was the person that had that kind of reputation. I was the one that had like the patriarch mantle being handed to me because I was the spiritual one. I was the one that worked with Christian organizations. I'm the one that sang in worship team. I was the good Christian kid, right? So that was the situation with that. So Mark is like way off.
Anyone's entitled to do what they want. But when you have 5 children, you don't do that. I would not do anything, not because of her, because I could care 2 flying F's about Lena anymore.
Well, I'll always care for Mark. It doesn't matter if he doesn't give 2 flying F's about me anymore or whatever he wants to say. But I know that what we have is special, and it was a unique time in my life. And, it's been a hard road, as a person who came out of fundamental evangelical Pentecostal Christianity and has decided to defy it and to walk away from it. It has not been easy. It hasn't. It's been very difficult. My wife later said, all you are to me now is a paycheck. So don't expect anything but to pay me every time you work. And I was like, whoa. And that video, and that statement that Mark made, and you think you know somebody. Well, after 17 years of marriage, I could say, whoa, and you think you know somebody, right? You think you know somebody. They would say that to you. You're just a paycheck. Yeah. Unbelievable. Another time, 2016, she tells me this on the phone. And it was when I got ringworm I guess it's ironic that I ended up getting sick. But she said, Paul, you were a good gig for us. And you brought in the cash. And quite honestly, I'm very frustrated that you're no longer providing it for us. I was like, a good gig. I was a good gig. I was a good gig. My skill set as a camera operator was a good gig for my ex. I'm telling you, that was just like icing on the cake.
Her ex-wife, who is a saint, to put up with all the years of Lena's tactics.
My wife was a saint. You're a good gig for us, Lopez. You're a paycheck to us. You are to have minimal contact with the children. That's the saint that when I was in the hospital, she could have claimed me, right? She could have gone and flown her, herself, right? She could have flown over to Texas, where I was lying in an ICU ward. But she chose not to. She chose to leave me there. If the shoe would have been on the other foot, believe me, I would have gone wherever she was to help her because I loved her. My family abandoned me. And I'm not saying that to play a harp or a violin or whatever. Harp, violin. I'm just saying the truth. I was left there alone without anybody. My sister was supposed to call at the hospital when I got hurt. She never called. She never said anything. And the saint wanted 4 types of alimony. And I don't know what they all are, but they were all like, temporary, as they train in to get work, and permanent, and I don't know what else, but it was 4 different types of alimony, and she did not want to back down from that. I had to get a $5,000 retainer fee paid to a lawyer in the Nashville area who is LGBT friendly, and she stopped it from happening, or else it would have just taken place. And so this is the saint that my husband here is talking about.
And those 5 children, actually 4, because one's an adult now, let's say even 3, because 2 are grown up, who are innocent bystanders in all this. I did all I did for them originally, so I wouldn't do anything to harm them.
Now, I do want to say thank you, Mark. Thank you for not getting involved in hurting my children any more than they already have suffered. I appreciate that. That is taking the high road, and I appreciate that. I know that you don't do it for me, but I know that you're doing it for my children, and I just wanted to thank you for that. The kids, they've been a very, very crucial part of this whole transition, and painful. I've done more videos than I can remember, especially in 2014, about my children, about how I missed them, how I wanted them, how I was reaching out to them, and all that, And, quite honestly, when Mark started doing whatever he did in May of 2015, and was like, he like shaved his beard, and he stopped taking tea, and he started like calling himself Maritza, and he got Rad Femmes on our side, and I was like, whoa, this is weird, because I don't really like this person as that, because I like a man, and whatever he was doing over there was not a turn on to me at all. I wasn't attracted, honestly. So I didn't understand why he was doing that. And he says it was for the children. He said it was for the children. And maybe it was, I don't know. Maybe it was his innate longing to be a mother, that he never got, that he was never able. Or maybe it's his innate desire to want to rectify things with his mom and to present her with a daughter that is able to be worthy of respect, because his mom does not respect him at all, still calls him Maritza and mommy and Nana, all the pronouns for females and stuff. But it happened May of 2015. We weren't together, but maybe 3 months, and it started happening. And I didn't ask for him to do that. I didn't even want him to do that. And I told him, "Are you expecting me to do something?" Because I'm not going to do anything, So.
So, Lena, stop being such a drama queen. I know you're eating this up. I know that's what you love. Here you are laying in bed, the little lingerie thing. I've been feeling so sick. You were sick 3 days ago before we even got into this argument. Why? Because of the life that you are leading. You're burning the candles at both ends.
So, Mark is obviously angry. I mean, you can see in the video, if you look at it, I've linked it onto my Facebook channel, but he's obviously angry, and he's got the camera set up in a way where he's talking down to you, or, what is it? It's like he's above you and you're looking at him like, whatever. So, it's like that Hitler angle, I like being like eye to eye with people. I don't like to like project myself as better than or higher than or whatever. But, he just like, he said what he said right there. And it's like, and Lena, you're being a drama queen and you're eating this up. It's like, listen, Mark, I would never have even said anything if you didn't go on and say something on your wall about, gee, you think you know a person and then, they're not who you think they are, blah, blah, blah. It's like he gets offensive to me and then I want to defend myself and then I get excoriated because I'm not supposed to say anything about the offense. It's like, it doesn't work that way. I mean, if you offend people, expect them to react to you, I mean, it's not about drama, because I was done. I was like, I had just called him about 2 days the night before, and we had a great relationship. And he's like, I'm like, wow, you look good, and it's best that we did this because we used to cancel each other out, and it's mutual, and the kids are going to benefit from I mean, all of that. And it was all peace and harmony until he started off with that whole. I mean, he did it again before with the patterns video that the pattern blog that he wrote about Macy's girls and trans women being, all this like into fluff and whatnot.
I don't have to do anything to get back at you. Life will do it for me.
I mean, if that doesn't sound like a curse, I don't have to do anything to you, because life will get back at you. It's like, what does he think he is? Like, is he like devoid of ever like being a person that causes pain or, suffering in someone's life? I mean, does he think that he hasn't already inflicted a lot of damage to me as it is already by being with him for 3.5 years in a very emotionally abusive relationship in which I was forced to watch porn at times with the man and sit there and like, I'm like, Mark, I don't like this stuff. I was raised Christian. I don't really, it's not appealing to me. Oh, come on, baby. It's okay. Just do it for me. Just do it for me. I'm like, I'd be looking at it, I'd be like, this is sick. This is just sick, not interested. It would piss me off, honestly, It would piss me off. But he's like, come on, babe. It's okay. It's okay. You'll learn to like it. I'll be like, no, I'm not going to learn to like it. Didn't like it before. I don't like it now. I didn't like it when guys used to shoot women's breasts when I was doing sports television. Didn't like it. So.
Because you have been doing this to people all the time. All the time. But no one's ever called you out on it. So I'm calling you out on it.
Wow. He's calling me out on something, right? He's calling me out on like what? You know? What is he calling me out on? You know? On my manipulative ways? You know? That I'm calling him out. He's calling me out, you know? And he's always right. And you guys got to see the camera angle. It's like, you know, looking at you from above, you know, like you're a little flea or something.
Stop the fiasco. Stop the dramatization. Stop all the crap that you're doing. I mean, it's just like the Academy goes to, you know, I have too much in my life. Look forward to even waste my time with you. I was just disgusted because you know what? A person's entitled after they dedicated 3.5 years of their life to someone who's not even worth a spit on the ground.
Wow. From being like his loving wife to being not even worth the spit on the ground. I mean, wow. Now I'm not even worth the spit on the ground. First he calls me an it, which was, you know, 3 weeks ago. And then he says I'm not even worth the 2 spits on the ground. Unbelievable. Well, Mark, you're always going to be worth everything that, you know, that makes you valuable as a human being. I will never take away your humanity. You are a very, at times, you can be a very loving and giving person and compassionate. And I know I experienced love from you. Thank you for those moments and those times. And I hope that, you know, you said, oh, you taught me to learn unconditional love, you know, and it's like, well, I will never hate you. You could say, I'm not worth 2 spits on the ground, but you were worth everything to me. And had you not been so emotionally abusive and physically restraining and so utterly protective that you were constantly like, you know, controlling me, we could have made this work. It could have been a good thing because I was super attracted to you and I always will be. You're super cute and I always will, you know, think that, you know, I missed out, but you know, I didn't miss out on this character that you have, this person that you are. I mean, it's like, whoa, you know, it's like, to use his own words, and you think you know a person, and then the fangs come out, you know, the fangs, I mean, the talons, and it's like, you know, it's like, wow. So not worth 2 spits on the ground. Remember, I was also called an it. An it.
I dedicated myself to you. Try to help you because everyone abandoned you. And there's a reason for that. Not just because of your gender, because even your own family tells you. It's not because of that. You're trying to make it out to be because of that, but it's not because of that.
You know, my family, quite honestly, they just feel absolutely forsaken and abused by me. They feel, you know, like they never knew me, and they feel like I've lied to them, you know, and they haven't worked through the pain and they haven't been willing to even have any slight, even tiny bit of like empathy for what I was going through. I mean, none, not even a slight inch of it. And it's like, it's like, wow, I don't understand what you're going through, but, I just want to say that I love you and I care for you and I always will. And that, whenever you want to talk about it, although I don't understand it, I do want to, offer you my love. And I'm not going to support you in what you're doing, but I do want to love you and to let you know that you're always going to be, welcome in my life. No, that doesn't happen in my family. My family, I can't believe that all these years and you didn't say anything and now you say something and you're just a liar and blah, 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 and not willing to give me an inch, not even an inch. It's unprecedented.
There are deeper things. Your ex-wife and sister, they spoke a lot, and your sister, I learned a lot from when I met your sister about you, and I didn't want to believe it.
A little note on my sister. My sister, she hates me, and she was born 8 years before me, and when I came along, I was like, she would call me the baby Jesus, because I took away her thunder. She was 8, so she was all of a sudden not the shining star anymore, right? And it was like she was like totally like offended by my presence, and she didn't like me, and we've always had spats. I remember one time, my dad was dying of cancer the first time, and we went to visit my dad at the hospital, and my then wife at the time, she somehow her brother and sister-in-law were visiting California as well, and they were going to meet in Disneyland. And my wife wanted me to go to Disney that day, and that day at the hospital and stuff. And my sister was like, just laying it in on me and stuff like that. And then I just called her out. I said, "You're just a bitch. I mean, my God, you don't understand. You're such a bitch. She's just so mean." And my sister's mean. She's like J-Lo with a real attitude, real attitude. And so when my sister walked in, when Mark and I showed up at my mom's house, and my mom didn't even want to let me inside the house. She was like, "Oh, no. I can't let you in. You not." It's like I had cut my hair. I had duded it up. I had given her what she wanted. And I was like, "Mom, I'm here." I mean, I was weighing 155 pounds. "Mom, I'm here. Why don't you just let me in? I'm your son." "Oh, no. I don't want to miss out on going to the graduation for Kayla in next year, and you should find out, and I won't be." I was like, "Mom, please." So Mark pleaded with my mom, looked her in the eye, and said, "Senora, please let your son inside. If you don't, I don't know what's gonna happen." "Ah, bueno, okay." So she lets me in. And minutes later, my sister shows up. Door opens. My sister, she walks in. She's in the living room, and she has this attitude. She's like, "Yeah, well, this is a long time coming. I got ammunition," right? So she comes in the door, and she's like, all like attitude. And I'm like, "Hey, Lil, how are you?" Just want to give her a hug. I hadn't seen her in since 2013. So I was like, "Oh, nice seeing you, Lil." And she didn't give me a real big hug at all. She was just like, she's pissed, right? So we make our way to the kitchen table, sit there. And boy, we're just giving me everything in the kitchen sink. "I can't believe that you lied. I mean, you were dressing in my bedroom, and you didn't let Mom know. You didn't let me know, and I thought it was Mom in the room, and you put on my wedding dress when I was on my honeymoon." I was like, I'm a kid. I'm like, I'm like a cross-dressing kid. I was trans, right? So if I see a wedding dress, right? I mean, come on. It's like a dream, right? So I played with her dress, you know? I mean, yeah, I didn't admit it. No, I didn't. I didn't want to get caught. I mean, one time I brought a cheerleading outfit back home from high school, and they were getting rid of the old label. I used to go to Melodyland High School across the street from Disneyland. It was a Christian school, and they changed their name to Southern California Christian. And it was like I walked in and I played with that little mini skirt and the little outfit. I looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, okay, cool, all right. Now I got to put it away. And I stuffed it up in the laundry room on like the second level by the old movie projector that never was touched, right? So my mom's doing the laundry, and all of a sudden, I guess it fell out and down onto the wash. And she's like, Paul, come over here. I'm like, oh, shit. What am I going to say, right? So I'm like, and she's like, where'd you get these from? I mean, it's a girl's outfit. I go, oh my gosh, really? Oh shit, really? Oh, must have fallen into the. I took the wrong backpack. Oh, thanks, Mom. So I didn't want anybody to know I was dealing with these issues. I mean, my God, it was like summertime was my time to dress. You know, it was like summertime came. Latchkey Kid was at home watching, you know, what was it? The Love Boat, you know, Fantasy Island, you know, Three's Company. I was just like sitting there watching TV, and then I would go upstairs to my mom's room and I would just go play in her closet because she was clueless. She didn't know if people touched her stuff. Now, with my sister, I had to be super careful because my sister was like my dad, very, very OCD, you know, and it's like, if you move something out of place, then it was like, you know, sometimes they would leave like a little trigger piece that if it got touched, that they know, you know, that it was wrong or whatever. It was touched or something. So I remember my sister and my mom would be in arguments like, why did you go in my room again? I can't believe you did that. I mean, that's an invasion of privacy, my 18-year-old sister would say, or 17-year-old. And I was like, oh no, they're fighting. Oh no, it's my fault. But if I say something, I'm going to get in serious due to trouble. And, you know, I didn't want to risk it, right? So she's airing all this anger and frustration and just all of it. She's upset, you know. She's letting me have it. I mean, in front of Mark. So Mark's hearing all this stuff. It's all negative. You know, it's all like bad, you know. So then, well, you're going to continue.
Because I was blindly in love with you. But now I see right through it all. So all I have to say, because I don't want to waste any more time on you, you know, I'm not getting any sleep, I'm tired, you know, and I'm leading a life. I work out for an hour and a half, I go to work for 9 to 10 hours a day.
And let's talk about that work that he did 9 or 10 hours a day now. Up until I was going to get my check review for disability, he didn't work at all. And he thinks that it's because I didn't want him to go to work, that I didn't want to be alone, that I didn't want to be without my Marky. But that's not the truth. I was like, if you can make a few extra bucks, why not? You know, it'd help us out, you know. And I had no idea what the finances were like, you know, but I was like, you know what? If that's what you want to do, go for it. You know, I'm a private person. I like having time by myself. You know, the only time that I had by myself with Mark was in the bathroom when I took a shower. And it was every other day because it's like, you know what? You shouldn't take a shower every day. You should take a shower every other day. So this is when you should take a shower. You should take a shower at night not in the morning, at night. And I'm like, I always took a shower in the morning, but it's like everything, this is how you make the bed. This is how you hang stuff in the closet. This is how you cook. This is how you prepare this. I mean, I was at the co-op and I remember I grabbed an apple. He's like, oh, let me grab the apple. I'll pick the apples because you don't know how to pick good apples. I'm like, are you kidding me? An apple, really? I'm 48. It just micromanaging the shit out of my life.
I have to make my own meals. I have to do everything for myself. Okay, so I don't want to waste any more time on you. All I'm saying to you is goodbye and good riddance.
And you know what? Okay, this is what I'm going to do for that. Goodbye, good riddance. See you in another life at another time. Because I am so glad to be done. I am so glad to be out of his hand. Because like nobody else's business, control me and what I did. And I am so happy. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I am lit up like a Christmas tree because I'm so happy that he's no longer doing these things to me. I can live my life now. It's liberating, to be able to go outside, just outside, things you take for granted, and to just get out there and walk, not answer to anybody. It's so refreshing. Thank you, Mark. I've been waiting to do this for a long time. Let me. Awesome. The air is fresher, the grass is greener, the sky is bluer, and the flowers are more, they smell better. They're more fragrant. I mean, I can breathe now, like you said, Reality Bender, and just be myself. Yes, exactly.
Don't worry, I won't do anything to take that precious money so you don't have to go to work, so you can continue to parade yourself in the mall.
Oh, yes,
and parading myself at the mall. Newfound friends, boyfriends, whoever it is. Yes. Knock yourself out. Life will catch up with you.
Life will catch up with you, too, for being so negative and hurtful.
Those that you've hurt, those 5 kids, your ex-wife, your mother, everyone that you've hurt, and not because of your gender, because, hey, that's not even it.
Oh, then what is it? Because prior to me transitioning, that there was nothing else. I mean, I dealt with it internally, and I was a good person. I mean, I like I said, I took my kids with me. People were always like, wow, you're bringing your kids. That's hard to do. I mean, you guys have so many kids. I mean, how do you guys do it? You guys are super parents. And I'd be like, because I love my kids. I want to give them experiences to remember and to places to see. I mean, we went to Colorado. We went to Jackson Hole, Wyoming. I mean, it was like awesome. We were like in Orlando. We would rent a timeshare the week before and we would hang out. I mean, we would go to St. Petersburg. We would go to like all these different beaches. I mean, one time I was working in Boston and my wife actually drove to Myrtle Beach. And then I flew down from Boston and met her. And we spent a week at a timeshare there. So I don't know what he's talking about, honestly, because I used to take my kids everywhere. And we went to every water park and we did all these fun things. Like I said, we had a good time. So I don't know where he gets off saying these things.
And for those people that keep defending you, like Landon, I wish Landon would know all the crap that you talked about him. Because you're two-faced. At least I say what I feel and feel what I say in front of people. I'm real.
Oh, yes. he's so real that he's like so dominating. You know, he has to like take everybody by the throat and tell them, this is how things are. If you want to be healthy, you need to be a vegan. And then the week later, if you want to be healthy, you need to go on the keto diet. And then another week later, if you want to be healthy, you got to be a vegan again. It's like, you know, he's like, the only constant is change. You know, it's like everything has an excuse. You know, he can do whatever he wants to do because, you know, he's ever evolving and he's a two-spirited person, you know, and he's the genuine, real deal, you know, of all trans people. Mark Angelo is the most authentic trans individual. If you were to take a scientific, you know, test, he would rate very highly, very highly. So he just, I mean, I just like, no, teen, you're not blocked. I don't know why would you think you're blocked. I would never block you. Yeah, he just like plays this monster beast.
You are a liar. You are so manipulative. It's not even funny.
Oh my God. It's like, is that not the kettle calling the pot, whatever the terminology is, the pot calling the kettle black? I mean, he's like doing this. You are a manipulator. You are absolutely pathetic. And it's like, are you serious? Are you serious? I mean, it's like, I'm serious that I'm the manipulator when I'm the one that has had to do everything that he wanted me to do. He's like, well, you wanted to go on the journey, so we went on the journey. You wanted to go to Florida, so we moved to Florida. I mean, yeah, in that regard, you know, he did, you know, do stuff or whatever for me. But it's like, manipulate when you can't even have a scoop of peanuts without having to be told how bad it is for you, when you're told that you have to drink your piss, you know? And like, I don't really want to do that. Well, eventually you should do it because it's good for us. This is what we're doing. I'm like, I don't want to drink my piss. Well, eventually just start slowly, you know, just start slowly and drink a little bit at a time, and then you'll get used to it. Because, you know, you can also pour it on your hair if you don't want to drink it yet. And I'm like, oh my God. So I did it, right? Because, I mean, you know, I'm doing whatever he tells me to do. Go to the gym. I'm like his little, you know, like his little training buddy. You know, it's like, it was like all this stuff we were doing, it was so boring. It was like, weightlifting to me is so boring. You know, I would rather get on a bicycle, rollerblades. I'd rather ski. I'd rather underwater basket weave. I'd rather do anything else but lift weights. They're boring, you know? And I know it's necessary, but it's not fun for me. And the environment in a gym is so sterile. Every time I go to the gym now, I have to carry around a towel and wet everything down. It's like, you know, what's the purpose of that? You know? So when I rollerblade, I don't need to put anything on anything. I just rollerblade my ass all over the country.
It's not even funny. And you know what buttons to push so that you could then play the role of, oh, look how mean. He's so controlling. He's violent. He's this. You don't have the same MO. But hey, what would you be without that MO?
He's referring to Jessica. Jessica made a video about him being violent towards her. And I at first was like, oh, this is just a little bit over the top, you know? I mean, she only has a little bump on her. And Mark's like, honestly, the truth of the matter is that we got into an altercation and she was resisting me and holding back. And I just was like, you know, she held onto my arms and I'm 5'5". I've got small arms. And it's like, okay, big guy. And Jessica could have taken me out and could have beat me up. but I ripped my hand apart and I whacked her in the face with the buckle of my bracelet. I'm like, so you did hit her? Yeah, well, no, I didn't hit her. I didn't hit her. And then I go, so how about the incident the year before, or that summer in Fort Lauderdale, when you were in Walton Manors and you guys got into another kind of altercation and she kind of like flicked your glasses in you in the face? Well, that time, I mean, she attacked me. So I ran after her and I punched her. And I was like, oh my gosh, and then when he punched her, the people there were like, you just punched a girl. And he goes, she's no girl. She's a tranny. She's a man, and it's like made a total ass of himself and embarrassed the shit out of Jessica and totally like exposed her to ridicule. I mean, it was like, violent. That would be Mark. I mean, I'm not violent whatsoever. I mean, that's one thing you can't get on me, is that I am not a violent person. So, I mean, if you want to talk about violent, he was living in fear of like Jessica calling in to the, to the police department. He's like, if the police did come, I was ready to tell him, I'm the one with the vagina, he's the one with the dick. And it's like, he has no respect for trans people whatsoever. He doesn't see you as a trans person. Not only does he not see me, he doesn't see any of you. He thinks you're all like crazy and part of an abusive situation and just out of your minds. That's the truth. That's what he thinks.
You need that justification to try to, I'm not even going to say mean things because I want to say so many mean things, you just don't know.
And you got to see this video. He's like, and I want to say so many mean things that you just don't know. It's like, dang. It's like, you could see fire coming out of his head. It's like, if he takes too much tea, his ears get red. But at that moment, it was like, I want to kill, it's like, God, what is the purpose of that? It's like, does he not realize that he's a tranny too? I mean, so he's a better able to stealthy man tranny, but if someone were to say something about him at Walmart, he would be like, not respected by a lot of the guy friends that he's making over there, But he's like, I mean, angry.
The years that I put up with you, trying to pretend to see something that was not there.
Oh, wow. So then he's always constantly been like, oh, Lena, I see you. I see the beautiful young Taino princess that is so like innocent and pure, and you are that, and it's like, wow, and then he says, and I never saw you. It's like, which one is it?
I'm just gonna shut up. I'm just gonna say one last thing. Don't worry, I'm not gonna do anything, because not for you, because you're not worth the breath. You're not worth my heart.
The
but for
breath.
your kids and your ex-wife and your mother, because she will suffer, because your ass is so lazy that you don't want to go to work.
Okay, I love doing what I did. I don't know if people followed me in the past, I love being a freelance camera operator. It's a super cool job. It has lots of cool events you can go to. I'm always in the spotlight with, whatever media events happening. It's super cool. If I could make as much money or more doing that, I just want to say that I would be working in a heartbeat, because it was never work for me. It was never work. But since I get a set amount, my children get a set amount. If it doesn't equal that, then I can't I can't pay my kids anymore, right? So I'm kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. Now, if it comes to a time when I'm able to recognize that I can make more money, you know, not being collecting disability and being able to go back to work, I would, I would. But, I think what he forgets, and this is a little tiny thing, it's really small, but it's very crucial. And I just want Mark to realize it. I broke my C1, my C3 and 4, and my T7. And it doesn't matter if it healed or not. It is full of scar tissue. And I was told that I was only a whiplash away for my entire life from being a quadriplegic. I don't think he remembers that part, I don't think he remembers that I was given 25% chance of recovery with surgery. I don't think he remembers that. I don't think he understands that I don't say certain things about my pain because I don't bitch about that. I just deal with the pain. If it's a problem, then I just deal with it internally. There's nothing I can do. But to say that I can go about lifting 80-pound cases of robotic camera gear and equipment, as people saw I was doing, working and stuff like that, and doing Lena's Life, I can't go climbing up a ladder, and I can't be swinging a crane, back and forth. I mean, my neck doesn't turn as much as it could in the past. It doesn't elevate or decline like it did in the past. I don't know if you realize it, but they gave me disability because I sustain injuries that will compromise my health as I age. So if I'm feeling great right now and I can rollerblade or whatever, or ride my bicycle or run, then great, but, and I know maybe I shouldn't be rollerblading. I get it. I love rollerblading though. I mean, what do you want me to do? So, it's like, I don't know what to say. It's like, I don't know what he's thinking, that I'm not capable of just being, the government knowing that I'm disabled. I mean, this Rosie Murphy, was like blasting me on his channel and was saying stuff like, it's so sad that I'm a tax-paying citizen and that I have to pay for this person who's not disabled, but it is what it is. And it's like, you know what? I don't know what you're thinking, but a person like me, if you look at the pictures, if you look at the accident and you see what I survived and how much I had to deal with, you would never think that I could have ever made it through that. I just, I don't know what it would be like to go back to work and stand on a camera and operate and watch and do a hockey game or an award show or a music video or hike gear and equipment to a remote location. I don't know how I can actually, have the stamina to do that on a daily basis. I don't know. And I don't like to drive, really don't. I mean, after the accident, there's like a real disdain for driving, a total disdain for driving. So he thinks I'm playing,
of course not.
faking it.
It was hard enough for you to have to try to deal with giving your ex-wife money, giving her half when you were out there trying to do whatever and buy your little dresses and do the thing.
So he's talking about in 2014 when I was not being coerced by anybody but my own conscience to give my ex half of my income. Every month, everything I made, it was half of the income. And that was what I did up until the time I got in an accident. And it was something that I felt obligated to do. It was something that I knew I needed to do.
That you always want to do. you know. But people will see. I'm not gonna mention you again. I'm not even gonna waste my time on you. People themselves will see the disaster unfold before their very eyes.
And
that's what I'm saying.
I'm just
too many people are ignoring me, telling me, dude, don't waste your time on that. I mean, look at you. Look at me. Look you know, they're telling me, look at you. You're like, you've always hated the fact that I looked like a man, and you still had so much work to do.
Oh wow. I mean, is that not like totally like degrading to a trans woman? I mean, first of all, I wasn't transitioned but maybe a year, you know, a year, and I was on my way. But you know, Mark had been transitioned for many years, you know, in the early 2000s, right? So yeah, he had an up on me for that. And, you know, I would be jealous of him, you know, having that. But, you know, I'm happy. I'm happy where I'm at right now. I feel like I've made leaps and bounds from when I was in Silver City just a month ago, you know. Gosh, I have like this sore throat. And I think it's because of stress, you know. I tend to get sick. Yeah. But I'm very happy. Very happy. My face is filling in. It's not as gaunt as it was when I was with him. I feel so much better about myself. You know, dating has been a helpful thing for me because it's given me the confidence and the happy smiles that I get from my dates and stuff, and the kindness that I get, and the friendly, you know, vibe that I feel is just really refreshing, and it's very, very, very helpful. I know I should. Okay. Yes, Mom. I will do. Where's my cups? Where are my cups? Oh, there they are. So I got my jug of water. I'm glad to be dating too, because the person I was with was never very kind to me. Always made me feel like, so you're wearing that wig today? I was like, so you're wearing that makeup today? So are you wearing that dress today? Instead of going, wow, babe, you look great. Oh my gosh, you look so good. I'm so happy. You look stunning, right? No, there was no stunning ever. So I would have some 99-cent a pound grapes from Aldi. So anyway, let me continue what his rant is.
You hated that. You resented that. And you still do. You hate that I'm getting bigger. You hate that I'm, you know, it doesn't take me much.
Is that not just kind of the essence of cockiness? Yeah, they're really good that way. So he's like, you hate that I'm getting bigger. I don't hate that he's getting bigger. I'm like excited. I think he looks awesome like that. You know, I like it when his face gets all poof, you know, and stuff. I mean, to me, it's hot, you know, so I don't know where he gets off thinking that I'm like somehow not like happy for his, you know, return to his masculine, manly, macho self. I mean, I think it's great. I think it's awesome. You know, I don't know why he would say that. And he's like Popeye, all mad.
Why? Because I am the real deal.
I am the real deal.
You are not.
You are not.
Never have been, never will.
Never will be.
But that's cool. I don't.
That's, you know, talk about a person like taking away your claim to your gender identity. Person like that just saying, I am the real deal, and you are not. Never have been, never will be. Meanwhile, I'm being hit on by guys on the street. Meanwhile, I'm going on dates. I mean, this guy that I went out to eat with just the other day at Outback, today he was like, hey, Lena, I'll come and pick you up and we can go, I'll grill some steaks. I got a pool in my backyard. You can come out and hang out. And I was like, well, no, I can't do that. No. Going out to eat is one thing. But going to someone's house when you've only met them one time and at a public place, no. I know what, you know, men have in mind sometimes, and it's not to not be intimate. So, you know, no. So I know where to draw the line with that kind of stuff, you know, like I totally know where to draw the line. But, you know, I'm not fretting it at all. You know, I got this other guy that I had coffee with. He's like, you know, I would love to get together with you again and go ride the trails and stuff. And I'm like, that's cool. You know, to have somebody to go bike riding with, that would be fun. You know, no like commitment, no like, you know, relationship, like, you know, boyfriend, girlfriend thing, but just, you know, friends hanging out and going to ride bicycles. I mean, that's cool to me.
I don't give a F anymore. I'm not even going to waste my anger, my frustration on someone like you. You're not worth it. You're not worth it. And you want to continue to push buttons so that I get angry. That's why you kept talking about all these guys that you're dating, because you know exactly that's what you wanted to do. You're on the other day we're on the phone.
So, you know, the reason that I would even have dated anybody was because I felt so like canceled out by Mark. You know, as a trans woman, I just felt like he never saw me. So, I mean, you know, he says a lot about validation and how important it is, you know, but he doesn't know how important it is for a trans woman to have that validation. You know, there's nothing wrong with validation.
Thank you, Rosie. Yeah, Rosie says, good for you taking the high road. Life will even outscored.
I regret my tax dollars funding someone on disability who clearly is able to work, but it is what it is. It's what Rosie says.
I can't read what Rosie wrote because I don't know why I can't find it. Anyway, I'm not even going to waste my time, you know, or breath on someone like you. Because you're not worth it. You're not worth my time, my energy, my anything.
Cool.
You know, it's sad. It's sad because I feel like I wasted 3.5 years. You know, here I just pulled, trying to find the thing. 4 years ago video. Well, it's time. Divorce is so messy. It's always messy for you. Why is that? Why is everything so messy? But why are you always the victim? No one else but you.
Well, the reason I was the victim in that case is because I'm trying to keep my family, and my family is being ripped away from me. You know, I mean, that's just what happened in my life. I mean, other people are fortunate. They don't have these things happen to them. But for me, as a Latina, as a person that was born in a very like, binary type family, you know, it's it's really sad, because there's no degree of compassion whatsoever. None. None at all.
Everyone else's fault. You are just such a saint. It's crazy and it's dumb. It's why can't I find the video that I'm doing now so that I could actually, let me see here, read the comments. So, she's good at manipulation. That's what she does. She's been doing that, as I mentioned, as a kid. And people that know her for real, not just the people that are being influenced by what she's saying now. Okay, I found it. Rosie said, good for you taking the high road. Life will even out the score. I regret my tax dollars fund someone on disability who clearly is taking the world, but it is. Yeah, it is what it is. And unfortunately, it's not even for her, it's for her kids, So, the ex-wife with 5 kids is the one that has to deal with raising those children, okay? And she claims to be so loving and wanting and needing her kids. That's BS. That's just another manipulative tool. I learned that real quick when I saw her behavior.
So I want to address a little bit of that. As you guys know, back in July of this year, past year, Mark and I detransitioned for what would have been the last time. I detransitioned twice in my entire life. And the first time was in September of 2015 when I saw a picture of my kids in front of a sign at Wheaton College in Chicago, and I felt very compelled and sad that I wasn't there. And overcome bad decisions, and I decided to detransition and attempt to restore my relationship with my children. So in July of 2016, I did the same, tried and everything, and I attempted to call the kids, but they didn't want to have anything to do with me, except for my youngest, who's now 8. And he and I chatted a few times, and he would tell me about his day, and it was all cool. I loved talking to him, but I quickly found out that they were never going to accept me as I was. I mean, and I'm not talking about as I was like this, but as I was, as a person that had so many things happen to them, And it doesn't matter if I would have detransitioned and walked back into their lives. The person that they knew is no longer there. I mean, I have changed in ways that I don't even recognize the person that I used to be anymore. I mean, I was super shy, for one. I couldn't put 2 words together to save my life. I do that now pretty easily. I didn't really share much on my media pages or anything. I was quiet. So the person that I am now is like, it's almost like an out-of-body experience. It's like Paul walked out, Lena walked in. And Paul said goodbye to Lena. Lena said goodbye to Paul. And we switched places. I don't know if that's possible. They talk about walk-ins happening and stuff. But for me, I totally feel that the person that I used to be is no longer the same person. So even if I did detransition for them at that time, I realized that they didn't want me. They didn't want me back. They wanted old me back, but old me died. Old me died. So I attempted to call them several times over the next 3 months or so. And one of the most poignant times was when I asked my ex-wife to have the children gather and just be kind enough to just give me some time to speak to them. So she was able to get them all to come, all four of them, and I I was like, I was sharing with each individual child, although none of them were talking to me. They never spoke to me during those 3 months of trying to get them to interact with me, except for the youngest. And so basically, I'm in the middle of talking to my daughter. I love you, girl. I mean, I'm so sorry, blah, 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 apologetic. And about 10 minutes into the conversation, right? 10 minutes in, my ex-wife, says, "Oh, I just want to give you a heads up. Kayla actually left about 10 minutes ago, and she hasn't come back down." So that whole time that I was talking to her, she didn't even give me the decency. Again, my role as a dad has been chunked and sliced and diced and removed from me. So I didn't even have the respect of my children to just sit down and listen to their dad. It was like, you know, how many times do you have to get slapped in the face before you realize, these people don't want me, they don't want me. So I I said, if this is how it's going to be, I'm just not going to call. You guys aren't doing your part. You just don't want restoration to happen. But he's like, oh, and she doesn't give a rat's ass about her kids. It's like, I have cried tears, years of tears over my children. I have bawled my eyes out to no end. The pain that you get in the back of your throat, you feel like you're gonna choke. I don't know if you guys have ever felt that, where you feel like you're gonna die. Yeah, that's the kind of pain that feels when you don't have your children in your life. And if he wants to say that that's drama, I just say, fuck you. It's real life. It's real life.
When I saw, it's like Heartless. She plays that manipulative tool. Yeah, exactly. The kids are the ones that suffer tremendously. And the ex-wife, because that poor woman does not deserve what she got. I believe that if you have responsibilities, you have to take care of those responsibilities.
I think it's really important to understand that during the time that I was in the hospital, my wife actually called and stuff, and Mark heard her sarcasm and her laughter, and she'd be like, so are you two sleeping together? And I'd be like, no, I'm like in an ICU ward and I can't move my arm. So are you guys? And Mark would be like, oh my gosh, that woman is so cruel. I can't believe that. And now he's saying something totally different. Like, and that sweet woman, she doesn't deserve this. And I would hear on the phone and my heart went out for her. It's like, which one is it? Because at first it was like, oh my gosh, she's so sarcastic. It's like, she's really mean. I can see why you're not with her. It's like,
and then you come second. Because, hey, those kids didn't ask to be born. That's why I did all the stupid things that I did for those kids, because I felt that. I'm like, oh my God, it's just wrong. But her guilt, and when she does it to get sympathy from people, to get, validation from people. Thank you so much, Rosie. All the best to you, too. Thank you. I appreciate it.
And to be honest, this Rosie person, I don't know if you guys have ever seen her, but she is a person that, a transgender woman who got like really big boobs and has like this almost a porn site and stuff, and parades herself out and stuff like that. And just, I mean, it's like really, really weird behavior. I mean, it's like this truck driver with boobs, and I was just like crazy stuff, you know. And they're like all like sitting in front of the water cooler with beers and hanging out on lawn chairs and in pools. And I mean, this person's like off out of their mind crazy, and they're giving me advice, you know, and telling me that I'm crazy.
You know, I feel like there's been a tornado that came in my life and went, you know, and I'm still recuperating from that tornado. And I'm still having to hear, and you know, my sister and how am I beating it? Because narcissistic people, they just become totally enraging crazy.
Narcissistic people become enraging crazy. Throughout this whole time, and most of the time when you see me on video, I'm never really, you know, like really like worked up about anything, you know. I mean, I'm not worked up about anything. And I just like, you know, I could say that I'm a narcissist and everything. I can feel, you know, at one point that I felt like I was a narcissist and stuff, but then I look over where Mark lives, you know, and Mark's corner over there. And that place is so full of narcissistic, egotistical, cocky behavior that I go, I must not be, because he is like really a narcissist. You know, it's like a narcissist doesn't know that they are a narcissist. You know, they would swear that they're not, you know. I mean, but Mark has always been about him, you know, always. It's always been that way. And I remember watching an old video with Violet. They're getting ready for the journey. He's got the truck ready, and Violet's got the camera. He's like, no, Violet, you need to do it like this. And it's like, oh my God, whoa. What are you doing? And he's like, you know, I'm like, is this the person that I'm married to? This person that's like, well, and you need to understand that I was born a woman, and only I can make you into the woman that I want you to be, because you need to do what I tell you to do. It's like old school Latin, old school like thinking. I mean, honestly, when I was married with a woman, I never felt that way. I never made her feel that way. I never told her that, you know, I was going to train her to be the woman that I need her to be for me. I mean, she was just a good woman, you know, innately did and was. And there was no training involved, you know. It was just a part of her own natural experience and her nature. And my nature was just to be a kind, loving husband and to support her and to make mutual decisions, you know. I mean, that was our relationship, you know.
You know, and it's true, and it's so true. And with her, it's the victim mentality, because she knows too well. And she's using, I mean, all because I said, oh my God, I thought I knew this person after being with them for so many years, and now I'm seeing their true colors. I don't think of them anymore as this pure person, because that's what I want to believe. That's such.
And it's funny because Mark has told me that he's been with more women than he could ever imagine anybody would ever think a person could possibly be with. One night stands, relationships, girlfriends, mostly women. He's the one telling me that I'm a sleazebag. I've had maybe 10 relationships that I've ever been intimate with in my entire life. Maybe 10. And he's like been all about that.
Such a little pure angel. I don't know how to make decisions. What should I do? Oh my God. I can't believe you said that. Ooh. It's like, I wish I would have recorded the conversation the night that I met her mom and her sister. I was like, totally like perplexed. Like, wow, this is her family and they think of her like that? And I'm defending her, thinking, oh, no, you guys don't know her. Boy, was I wrong. I was the one that didn't know her. Her family obviously knows her. She claims her sister doesn't know her. Excuse me. She raised you. Your sister was 8 when you were born.
To be honest, my sister and I, she actually, we were kind of like raised like only children, you know, because she was 8. And then when she turned 16, she was already almost out of the house. So I was raised kind of like an only child, you know, and my sister would pop in every now and then. But since the age disparity was so high, you know, she didn't really, we never really bonded as brother and sister and stuff like that. It was always, you know, I mean, it was always a competition because she thought that my mom liked me more. And, you know, Dad obviously favored her more. So my dad would say, why can't you just be more like your sister? And it was like, if you only knew. No. You know, it was like, wow, really? Now I have to be like this light's getting a little intense. I'm just gonna maybe try to back it off or something. I don't know. But yeah, it was like, wow, you know, my sister was just really cool to me. And she told me, oh, they found you in a dumpster when you were born. You know, it's like she would put her hand on the door, this light switch, and like have her hand there so that, I mean, it traumatizes people when you're in the dark and then you go to reach to put your hand on this light switch to turn on the light, and there's a hand there. Freaked me out. I was like scared of the dark for the rest of my, you know, childhood. You know, I mean, it was like it creeped me out. I mean, so my sister wasn't nice to me at all. She was mean.
If anybody should know you well as your mother and your sister, but you don't want to admit to that. You know, just go and live your life, okay? Just go and.
Now he's telling me to go and live my life. Thank you, Mark, for giving me permission. I will do that. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Mark Cummings, sir. I will go and live my life as you have stated. Is that your last controlling mandate? Go live your life now. You know, it's like, I let you go, he says. It's like, I was waiting to go already a long time ago. I was not able to. So, you know, it's like giving me permission to live, basically.
Live your life. Stop trying to make me jealous. Stop trying to do what you're doing. And you know you're doing it. And people see it. You know, that I'm done getting a rise out of the crap that you do. I just want this nightmare. You call me the monster? You are the demon that pretends, like Satan pretends to be beautiful and all bright and light, whatever, but deep down inside, dark soul. And you're saying that I'm the dark soul.
I don't know. I mean, I just want to put it out there for people. Do you guys think that I'm the dark soul here? Or do you guys think that Mark is? Or do you think that we both are dark souls? I don't know. Do you think that we get on here just for our own, like, personal, like, you know, egotistical, you know, desires and stuff? At least he said I was beautiful. So, I don't know. a backhanded compliment.
If that was a dark soul, I would have left your ass alone in that hospital and fend for yourself. But I didn't.
Oh, if Mark were listening now, I certainly wish that he would have left me alone, because I didn't know that coming to my rescue meant that I would forever be like bound to be obligated to never forget what he did for me. You know, I mean, it's like he was like, and don't you forget that I was there when nobody was there for you. It's like, and yes, and you hold it over me like nobody's business. It's like, don't you ever forget that I got you disability. Don't you ever forget that your body is in the shape that's in because of me, not because of you. Don't ever forget. Don't ever forget. Everything's don't ever forget. You know, it's like, don't ever forget all the good things I've done for you. You owe me. He would be like, you know, if I were to add up how much it costs for you to be trained, then I would be getting thousands of dollars for what I did for you. I put you on a health plan. I put you on a diet. I gave you the keys to successful physical fitness. You owe me. So why wouldn't I marry this person? Because I felt obligated. I owed him. He helped heal me. And I was like, wow, the least I could do is just love him and be with him. You know, I mean, he's a cute guy. He's Puerto Rican. I'm Puerto Rican. He's Cuban. We get each other on the cultural side of things, but you know, Cubans and Puerto Ricans are like oil and water. They don't mix. They don't mix at all. And although the islands are not too far away from each other, and the big one is over here, and we always thought that Cubans were very cocky and very like uppity, and that they looked down on Puerto Ricans, you know. And his mom kind of fulfilled that whole thought process, because she never liked me, and she looked down on me because I was a Puerto Rican. So, I mean,
because I knew no one was going to come for you. I knew no one wanted to have anything to do with it. I saw her in the voice of her ex-wife. She was like, I almost felt like your wife was glad that whatever you happened. You said, oh, your kids didn't even say anything on the phone. Why? Because they're burnt out with you.
Now, I don't know what happened at the hospital at those times when my wife would call. When the kids, I would tell them, yeah, and I rolled down the hill and it was painful, and I'm just so glad to be alive, and it's so awesome to be here today and to be alive. And chirp, chirp, chirp on the phone. Those children were quiet because their mother manipulated them and brainwashed them to think that I didn't care about them, to think that I left because of them, to think all kinds of things about me. That's why they were silent, because they didn't want anything to do with me because of what their mom said about me. So that was the truth. That's what happened in the hospital. And I was like devastated, because I'm like, aren't you guys going to say anything at all? Aren't you going to say, we're glad you're alive or something? I just listened in silence. And my ex laughed. I mean, Mark talks about how it was like, she had pain in her voice and you could hear her tone. And she was like, and then he goes, and part of her was actually glad that you had gotten in. And it's like, who's glad that someone like almost dies in a very painful manner? Who would do that? You know, I mean, if it were to have happened to her, I would have run to go see her. You know, it didn't matter what, you know, but I mean, it's like he paints this other picture that was not there in the hospital room. It's like my wife was sarcastic against me and I was in an ICU. It wasn't this like pained, and then he goes, that she was glad that I was hurt. Well, I felt that innately, personally, that those that didn't like what I was doing and how I was living my life, the choices I had made, that they thought it was karma, that, that they thought it was God allowing it to happen, that if I needed to lose my life because of it, that it was okay. It's okay. God will put you through whatever you need to get to in order
all your bridges
to live.
Only the little people that you have around you now who believe your manipulation. But in time, you too will show them the kind of person that you are.
So all you people who really care about me and stuff and are understanding and whatnot about what I'm going through, he says that all you guys are gonna like find out the truth and that you're gonna be like all turned off by me and stuff. Well, just to let you know, Rayla's been around for quite a while, and Rhonda's watched all of my videos. Valerie's seen a bunch. Reality Bender apparently has seen a lot of my stuff. I mean, Teens followed me as well, and it's like I am who I am, and I don't apologize for anything. I'm. Oh, you are. I'm sorry, Reality Bender is Rayla. But other people, I mean, they see me, and they have seen me, and you guys know how much I changed when I was with Mark. He tells me that I'm like two-faced and stuff, and that I was bad-mouthing Landon, my friend. And yeah, I had my disagreements with Landon, and I bad-mouthed him, and I said things to him to his face and stuff, and we had arguments and everything. But Landon's never walked away from me, in the sense of like never communicating with me again. And he knew me from the past. And, people say things and they can apologize. So with Landon, we're cool.
For now, I'm signing off. I'm not wasting any more of my breath, I'm not giving you any more, like this video is called. I'm not giving you any more what you want and crave, which is attention, validation, and drama. Drama follows you everywhere you go. I'm just going to leave people to watch the disasters unfold. And if they don't believe me,
again, he
just go through her. I got to go to work. I just had to cook up a storm for my lunch and stuff like that. I didn't get hardly any sleep last night because, again, she reels me in.
I didn't reel her in.
The video
came in because he was making a video about me, and then people were like, this person, Zombie Birdie King, was just like totally like having me for lunch. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to stick around and get filleted here on his live video, which, by the way, sounded really bad. And I told him about the sound, so I had to restart it. But I mean, I went and started my own live feed, and I was talking and stuff, and he came over to me.
Making herself be the drama queen, making herself be the victim. That's what she does well. Well, guys, love you. Thanks for watching. Thank you, Rosie, and thank you for all of you who are messaging me and are seeing right through a little fiasco. And for those of you who are pretending to be my friend and pretending to be her friend, big sides here, because but you'll see.
So he wants everybody to pick a side. He wants everybody to like choose what side you're going to be on. You can't be non-biased. You have to like. He always wants to fight. Don't you see? That's his MO. He likes a good fight, and he likes to be like the center of attention, and never wrong. So I think, I kind of like said everything, and everybody has been on. Patty was on YouTube watching under Landon's account, and Carrie, Jody Penner, Stephen Whitcomb, all these people, Ryan Mintz, Lisa Amarillo, Blue Minardi, who sent me some really cool like articles of clothing that she wants me to model for her. her company, and that's super cool. I'm super excited about that. Sarah June, Ava Kraus, Anita Hill, Jan Bucher, Ava Kraus. Oh my gosh, Luke Sanderson said a bunch. Ingrid, Catherine Vormwald, Diana Baez, Gavin Hardigree, Shane Beadle, Otis Orth. Lots of people. Thank you for watching on Facebook. And so many of you here on my YouTube channel, which is now back to being on again. You know, it's so nice to be able to be on and be able to speak and not be silenced. You know, it's really cool. But Teen is on, and Rayla, Reality Bender, Babushka, Rhonda, Sherry Larch. Um, Gosh, so many yes, good people. Um, Luke Sanderson again here. Ava Kraus. Um, there's some other people. Yeah, it's been good. I mean, I think I've been able to rebut this whole fiasco that he put up online this afternoon or this morning as he's eating and looking down at you in a powerful like, I know you know nothing. You know, I'm eating. I'm angry. It's like he's like all mad and everything. It's like nothing calming about him. Nothing soothing about him at all. He's just like, yeah. It's like, God, be nice. People like nice people. He's like pointing his finger, looking all mean. I know, Sandy Sands. I just don't want to have anything to do with Mark. Ever. Ever. Like, as in ever being like everlasting. And I'm just ready to move on. No, that's why I started dating. So I could get him out of my mind. You know, that's why I started to date. And I was like, you know what? I'm not interested in what you have to say. I don't think you're a shaman. I don't think you're wise. I don't think you're a nice person. I think you're a dark soul. And I don't want anything to do with you. I wouldn't want anything to do with people that are dark souls. You're supposed to like walk away from people that are like that and keep them away from you. And so I have blocked him on all my channels, on all my Facebook and everything. And you know, I know he's got like spies and people that are like watching and screenshotting and all this other stuff, but you know, I'm just not interested. Not interested at all. At all. So he can do what he wants to do, say what he wants to say, but to me, he is a non-entity and a person that I don't want anything to do with. Nothing. I mean, at this point, I have no idea why we got married. I don't know. I really don't know. Must have been a mental lapse or something. Yeah. So anyway, thank you guys. I appreciate all of you. All of you. You're so nice, you know, and thank you so much for hanging out with me here on YouTube land and on Facebook land. And you guys should check out the Facebook video I did at the place over in Hmong Village. It showed a bunch of fruit, a bunch of like little shops and things at this this really cool little find. It was really cool. They had so many things, you know, that were so like unique, you know, authentic and stuff. So if you guys get a chance to take a gander at my Facebook page and take a look at that little video, it's There's some really neat things. You guys wanted me to buy something for you, let me know, because I can buy it and then send it to you, because there's some really, really interesting things. And my favorite fruit, passion fruit, I like plums, but passion fruit, I was able to get like a passion fruit smoothie drink and stuff. And they asked me to come back to get their papaya salad. So all kinds of really interesting foods, authentic Hmong, Laos, and Thai foods and stuff. That place is just down the street. You know, it's like this place is like a treasure trove of all kinds of experiences, and it's exactly what I needed. You know, I mean, living in a little dinky town, it just gets old. You know. So anyway, I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. You guys are so cool. I just, you know, you make me happy. So I'll see you guys, I don't know, down the road. All right? See you tomorrow or whenever. Bye.